大家好, ¿cómo está? My name is Victor, and in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is the ZV-E10. And this is going to be my long-term review. I've had this for over 6 months now, and I'm also happy to say that this camera has been with me in different countries, like winter in Canada, the humid weather in Dominican Republic, and now in a rainy and also hot, humid weather here in Taiwan. So I'm going to give you guys my honest thoughts about the ZV-E10 in a long-term review. So I've tried to push this camera to its limits and to maximize its potential as a B camera or maybe a C camera and a travel camera. For vlogging, I have some different opinions, so let's get started. Okay, let's talk about build quality. For a long-term review, this is going to be crucial. You want to buy a piece of equipment that will last you a long time. Hence why this is number one on my list. The build quality in this one is so-so. I would definitely recommend, if you're going to use this professionally as your main camera, to be extra careful with it, and also to maybe put a cage on it so that it's more protected on falls, scratches, or something that could damage the body. So far, the body on this ZV-E10 is a little bit plasticky. It reminds me of my Canon Rebel T2i, and it's just a high-grade plastic, but so far it's very prone to scratches. I don't know if you guys can see this part. So I've had a few scratches on this already, just putting on this Peak Design 3-liter bag, and that it's already gone through some damages right there. There's also a scratch right here. I'm not too sure if you guys can see it. I might do some B-roll here on overlay if this doesn't show well. On the side, you can definitely tell there's some scratches on there as well. And I've never dropped this one, and I'm actually more scared of dropping this one than my previous cameras. So I've had the Sony a6300, 6400, and the 6600. All have a better quality build on their chassis. I dropped my a6300 before and nothing really happened. It had a little dent, but that was it. But with this one, if I drop it, I feel like it's gonna crack on a very cold weather. Needless to say, this is only my travel camera, and if I really am in a tight situation, this is going to be a C camera for me. The build quality on the kit lens is okay, because I feel like if I take this out right here, it has a lot of play, and also that it's not that weather sealed, so I'm not going to give this good points for what it is. But I did drop this on one of my videos, the top 5 accessories for your cameras when you're first starting out. There's a little scratch on there. This is a very cheap camera. I'm gonna put the price here for the camera body and the kit lens. And so far, the build quality, you just have to be careful and put protection, put a cage, put screen protectors, and take care of your gear. Take care of your camera. So the next thing about this camera is that the rolling shutter is notoriously bad. I just don't like it at all, and whenever I'm shooting 4K, like it just boggles my mind. Like for me, for vlogging, sure, like I can do it. It's just a vlog. It's not a paid production work. So I'll give you guys an example. The rolling shutter here is really bad. But then if you switch to 1080, it does get better. And when I'm shooting vlogs, it's usually in 1080 because, again, it's just talking head vlogs. I don't need the highest quality when I'm vlogging with this camera. When I'm using this for production work, I do try to keep the camera stable, or at least on a gimbal, or not really on a fast-paced shoot. Like, for example, if you're shooting basketball and that's very fast-paced. And definitely this camera will not be for you because everything will be slanted whenever you're moving the camera, especially if you do need 4K while shooting in these types of productions. I wouldn't recommend this at all. But again, for vlogging and for, I would say, just day-to-day use, family use, like just keeping memories, like this is one hell of a camera. And to get the best possible image, a cinematic image, or a professional looking image, I've created a video about the best settings for this ZV-E10. It's gonna be in one of these corners. Feel free to check it out so that you can maximize the look of your ZV-E10. Okay, so let's talk about the features on this product. So the ZV-E10 offers the ZV-1 features combined with the A6100 features. So this is like a combination of those two cameras. obviously without the EVF because that's what I'm missing in here. So there are 3 features here for vlogging. One is the soft skin effect, which I really don't like and I don't use. It looks very it looks like a Snapchat filter or a TikTok filter. If you don't have any advanced post-production workflow that will smoothen the skin, yes, I could see this useful, but for me, it's really not. And that it looks very digital and it looks like a low quality filter that you can see on Snapchat or TikTok. Next feature is background defocus. Again, maybe another useless feature. Yes, it's a shortcut to get the blurriest background that you can with your lens. But again, if I know what I'm doing, I just roll this to the aperture that I want and it's gonna have that blurry background. For beginners, I could see it potentially being useful. And the last feature I want to talk about with the ZV-E10 that my A7 IV and my FX3 don't have is the product showcase mode. The product showcase mode is right here. And I believe that this is one of the things that I really like about this, especially in terms of being a vlogging camera. I can just look at myself and that it'll focus on whatever object I show in front of my screen, and it retains eye autofocus. For example, here on my FX3, if I show you guys this and that my eye is still in frame in the focus zone, it's not gonna focus on the product itself. And if I block my eye, obviously it's gonna use the focus zone again. But if I do the same thing on my ZV-E10, I have eye autofocus on and also my product showcase on. And if I just do this, it'll still focus even if my eye is in frame. Like I don't need to cover my eye, unlike the FX3 or the A7 IV, that I still need to cover my eye so that it focuses on the product itself. And this is one of the features that I really love, especially for vlogging. And this is something that I go back to whenever I need a small setup for vlogging. Now let's talk about photography. So far with this camera, I've done a photography review with this camera, and one thing that I said is that there's no EVF. And that's something that I miss. I come from a photography background, and that I got this for vlogging and also for social media work. And if I'm taking photos for social media, this is the one that I take, because I reserve my A7 IV and my FX3 for my professional work. I don't want to use that for my social media work because, again, like wear and tear, and also this is the one that does the job, and that I can still get really high quality photos with this. I just don't need to pull out my pro cameras and start shooting with it outside. It's fun, yeah, I take them once in a while, but again, if I'm just outside or I don't want to bring everything, or I don't want to bring a heavy setup, this is what I'm gonna bring. So far with the EVF, I do miss it a lot. You can get by with casual work with just the LCD screen, but it's really not the same. Like for photography, this looks like I'm taking a photo using a smartphone, but it's a more powerful shooting experience rather than having an EVF where you can focus on what you're capturing and be immersed with what you're trying to photograph. Again, not having an EVF is definitely okay. If you guys are interested in my photography review with the kit lens, it's going to be in one of these corners, and this is where I show you guys the capable photography features of this camera and how I edit my photos as well. Last but not least, I do want to talk about weather sealing. As I mentioned in the intro of this video, I have taken this in different weather climates. In Canada, where winter is bad, in Dominican, where you have sea salt and humid, hot weather, and also in Taiwan, where it's raining, and also if it's not raining, it's super hot, humid. So far, this guy handles it very well. I haven't had any issues with this. I would say maybe some dust going into the sensor most of the time, or more frequently than I expect. But like Taiwan is I live in Taipei, and like it's a very dusty city, I would say. But so far it's always catching some dust inside, where I just blow it off with a lens blower. So in conclusion, this camera is definitely worth its price tag, and that it definitely serves me to what I bought it for. And so far, this camera is one of the things that I miss about my a6300. Small form factor with a ton of power inside. This is one of the best beginner cameras that you can get in the market, although it's not in production. Sony had a few of their cameras taken off production because of the global chip shortage, and that you won't get one of these in the next little while until the global chip shortage has been resolved. But so far, again, for the price, this is one of the best cameras you can get. And even with just the kit lens, you can get great images out of this package. Anyways, if you guys have more questions about this camera, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
너와 나